Hello students, good time to all. I am Chandan Kumar Pradhan. Welcome to your YouTube channel Chandan Physics. In this video, we are going to discuss Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Let's begin. The scientist Kepler proposed his laws regarding the planetary motions. He proposed three laws as named as Kepler's laws of planetary motions. These laws are: first law of that of Kepler's, every planet revolves around the sun in elliptical orbits, with sun situated at one of its foci. Like this is sun and the planets are revolve around that of sun. The first law of that of Kepler's is known as Kepler's first law is known as law of elliptical orbit. Law of elliptical orbits. Second law, the radius vector joining the sun and the planet sweeps out equal areas equal areas in equal times. That is the aerial velocity, that is dA by dt. The aerial velocity of a planet is constant. If this is planet and we join that of radial vector, that is the radius vector joining that of sun and the planet sweeps equal areas in equal interval of time, whereas we can say the aerial velocity is constant, and that is known as Kepler's second law. Kepler's second law, and named as, we call it as law of area. Law of area. That is Kepler's third law. What is that of Kepler's third law? The square of the time period of revolution of a planet about the sun is proportional to the cube of the semi-major axis. If that one is the shape of that of elliptical path, then this axis is the semi-major axis, that axis is the semi-minor axis. The law said that the square of the time period of the revolution of a planet about that of sun proportional to the cube of the semi-major axis. And it is known as Kepler's third law, named as the law of harmony, that is harmonic law. Harmonic law. Kepler's first law, named as law of elliptical orbit, the shape of that path. Second law, law of area, that is aerial velocity of that of planet is said to be constant. Third law, that is harmonic law, that is square of the time period directly proportional to the cube of that semi-major axis. All these three laws can be proved mathematically. Let's discuss one by one. First we study about Kepler's first law. Our aim is to derive the path of that of planetary motion is elliptical. Our aim is to prove the path is elliptical mathematically. Kepler's first law, you have to prove, as planet revolves around the sun under gravitational force, let that gravitational force F of r is equal to how much? Minus g, let mass m1 m2 divided by square of the distance, that is r square. Let I take this constant portion, let k minus k divided by r square, whereas k is equal to minus g m1 m2. But we know the potential energy, since it is conservative force, that is in that of central field, the force is same to that of negative of potential gradient, that is du by dr, where u is the potential energy, u is the potential energy. Therefore we can say minus du is equal to f of r into dr, which implies du is equal to minus of f of r dr, which implies integrating, we find integrating u is equal to minus integration over f of r dr. Therefore u that is only the function of r, u the function of r is equal to minus f of r dr. In place of f of r I write that is k by r square, k by r square into dr. Solving that of integral, we find that is minus k by r. U of r is equal to minus of k by r. F of r is equal to minus k by r square, u of r is equal to minus k by r. We find these two values. Now from first integral of motion and second integral of motion, we use these two integral of motion, find the solution of central field motion. Here we introduce a particular integral. That integral was d of theta, d theta is equal to L dr divided by r square 2 mu e minus u minus L square divided by 2 mu r square square root. That was the equation, or d theta is equal to L dr divided by r square. In place of u we introduce minus k by r, that's why 2 mu e plus k by r minus L square divided by 2 mu r square. Hence integrating this equation, we have that is theta is equal to integration over L dr divided by r square 2 mu e plus k by r minus L square divided by 2 mu r square plus theta naught, the integrating constant. Equation 1, where theta naught is a constant, or we can say that is the constant of integration. Now we put, here is the equation, if we put u is equal to 1 by r, that is small u, that is r is equal to 1 by u, which implies dr will be how much? Minus 1 by u square du. Then equation 1 becomes, we use all the substitutions in that of equation 1, that is theta is equal to how much? Integration over L, in place of dr I substitute minus 1 by u square du divided by, in place of r square, r is equal to 1 by u, that's why r square is equal to 1 by u square, and 2 mu e plus k divided by r, that is 1 by r is equal to u, that is k u, minus L square divided by 2 mu 1 by r square, in place of 1 by r square, that is u square, that is L square u square divided by 2 mu plus theta naught, 1 by u square cancel out, which implies theta is equal to, that is theta naught minus integration over L du divided by, now we multiply 2 mu inside that of bracket, what we find? That is 2 mu e plus 2 mu k u minus 2 mu cancel out, that is L square u square square root. Again we take L square common inside that term, which implies theta is equal to theta naught minus integration over L du divided by, taking L square common, we find 2 mu e divided by L square plus 2 mu k u divided by L square minus u square, that is common inside that of square root, that is square root of L square, that is L, which implies theta is equal to theta naught minus to that of outside, that is L cancel out, therefore the only term exists du divided by 2 mu e divided by L square plus 2 mu k u divided by L square minus u square square root. Let we take it as equation number 2. Now we have to find the value of that given integral. To solve that of given integral, we use a formula, the standard formula of that of integral. We know the integration over dx divided by a plus bx plus cx square square root. That integral will be how much? 1 by minus c square root cos inverse minus of b plus 2cx divided by b square minus 4ac square root. That is the formula for that of standard integral. Now I use this standard integral formula to this integral. Here we treat u as x. Here we treat the value of a will be how much? This term as a, that is 2 mu e divided by L square. The term of b will be how much? B, that is 2 mu k divided by L square, and c will be how much? That is minus 1. We put all this and use that formula. We find that integral, which implies theta is equal to theta naught minus the value will be how much? 1 divided by square root of minus e, that is minus of minus 1, that is 1, square root of 1, that is 1, only exists, that is cos inverse b minus b plus 2cx. When we multiply minus b minus of minus 2cx in place of c, that is minus 1, therefore this term will be positive. The term will be how much? Minus 2 mu k divided by L square plus 2u divided by, that is b square minus 4ac, that is 4 mu square k square divided by L fourth plus 4 ac. The value will be 2 mu e divided by L square inside that of cos inverse. Okay, which implies theta is equal to theta naught minus cos inverse, taking common 2 mu k divided by L square from that of numerator part, that will be u L square divided by mu k minus 1 whole divided by, in that of numerator we take common as 4 mu square k square divided by L square, that is 1 plus 2 e L square divided by mu k square, that is the square root term. This is square root, this is under root, that is square root of b square minus 4ac, this term under root. Okay, which implies theta is equal to theta naught minus cos inverse, the square root of this term will be same and cancel out to each other. We finally found, that is u L square divided by mu k minus 1 divided by 1 plus 2 e L square divided by mu k square square root. Let's take, okay, now take that of equation. When theta to outside or taking cos inverse, that is theta minus theta naught is equal to minus cos inverse u L square divided by mu k square minus 1 whole divided by 1 plus 2 EL square divided by mu k square square root. Multiply minus on both sides. Taking minus on both sides, that will be theta naught minus theta. That will be term will be how much? Theta minus theta naught minus theta. Theta naught minus theta is equal to cos inverse this term u L square divided by mu k square minus 1 whole divided by 1 plus 2 EL square divided by mu k square square root. But when inverse to that of this side, that will be cos of theta naught minus theta is equal to this term u L square divided by mu k square minus 1 whole divided by 1 plus 2 EL square divided by mu k square square root. But we know cos of minus theta is equal to cos theta. That's why we use cos of theta minus theta naught is same as that of cos of theta naught minus theta. That's why I prefer cos of theta minus theta naught. Cos of theta minus theta naught is equal to u L square divided by mu k square minus 1 whole divided by 1 plus 2 EL square divided by mu k square square root. Again we proceed, which implies this portion will be how much? U L square divided by mu k square minus 1 is equal to 1 plus 2 EL square divided by mu k square square root into cos of theta minus theta naught, which implies only u is equal to that is mu k u L square minus mu k square, not mu k square, that is mu k. Here this is only mu k, that's why that is mu k divided by L square 1 plus 2 EL square divided by mu k square square root cos of theta minus theta naught. Let equation number 3. Let us substitute a term, that is epsilon is equal to 1 plus 2 EL square divided by mu k square square root, and C is equal to mu k divided by L square. This epsilon is known as, in that of conic section we study, that is as eccentricity. In that of conic section we studied about this. Therefore that equation changes to, therefore we write u is equal to mu k by L square, that is C, that is 1 plus here perfect that one. That equation, we prefer that equation, that is 1 plus that minus, that is 1 plus that is 1 plus inside that term, this one is added. Okay, that's fine. That is 1 plus epsilon, the value of this, cos theta minus theta naught. Here we know, we introduce u is equal to 1 by r, therefore 1 by r is equal to c 1 plus epsilon cos theta minus theta naught. Now from that of equation, epsilon is equal to 1 plus E L square mu k square. From that of equation, let we take this as equation number 4, this one equation number 5. From equation 4, squaring both sides, that is square of epsilon is equal to 1 plus 2 EL square divided by mu k square, which implies 2 EL square divided by mu k square is equal to square of epsilon minus 1, which implies E is equal to minus mu k square divided by 2L square whole into 1 minus epsilon square. Look at that of equation, which is negative if epsilon is less than 1. If the value of epsilon is less than 1, then that entire term is negative, but in the another way, that is positive. This corresponds, that equation corresponds an elliptical orbit. This corresponds an elliptical orbit. So the planet moves around the sun in elliptical orbit with sun at one of its foci. That's why this is the Kepler's first law. Here, how we introduce, how to discuss that of Kepler's first law? We use the equation and introduce u is equal to 1 by r and proceed like this. Simply mathematical, we introduce that integral for solving that particular integral and proceeding in same way. Here we introduce a term epsilon, that is eccentricity in that of conic section, and constant this term as c, and taking from that of equation, this equation corresponds to elliptical orbit. That's why the path, as our discussion, is elliptical. Our second discussion, that is Kepler's second law. Kepler's second law, which is known as Kepler's second law, which is known as law of area. Let we take a planet here, move from P point to P dash point. Substitute an angle, it will be theta, this will be r, then obviously that is r d theta. Let a planet move from P to P dash in small time, then the area swept by the radius vector is equal to, the area will be how much, dA is equal to, that is half base into height. Here let me take, since it is very small, the curve area is just like the straight line, and the value is r d theta. This is right angled, that's why half base into height r d theta, r d theta, that is half r square d theta. The aerial velocity, that is area velocity, that is dA by dt, that is half r square d theta by dt, that is dA by dt is equal to half r square d theta by dt is equal to omega, that is angular velocity, which is constant. Because why that term is constant? Because we know L is equal to mu r square omega is constant, that is the first integration of motion for that of central field motion. Here r square omega is constant, hence we obtain the result that the aerial velocity of a planet is constant, which is Kepler's second law, which is clearly consequence of law of conservation of angular momentum. Half r square omega is equal to constant. That is the discussion towards Kepler's second law of planetary motion. Now final one, that is Kepler's third law of planetary motion. How to prove? Kepler's third law, that is law of harmony. As L is equal to mu r square omega, which implies r square omega is equal to L by mu, then dA by dt is equal to L by 2 mu, which implies dA is equal to L by 2 mu into dt. Integrating the equation over time period t of the planet around sun, and the total time period let t to take for that of planet to cover the sun, around that of sun, then we get that is integration over dA from 0 to a is equal to integration from 0 to t L 2 mu dt, which implies a is equal to LT divided by 2 mu. Taking a equation number, let equation number 6, here we take equation number 7. But area of ellipse A is equal to pi AB, whereas A is the semi-major axis, and B is the semi-minor axis. If that one is the ellipse, then semi-major axis, this is A and that is B. Let me take equation number 8. From that of two equations, we get from equation 7 and 8, we get LT divided by 2 mu is equal to pi AB, which implies T is equal to 2 pi AB mu divided by L, which implies T square is equal to 4 pi square A square B square mu square divided by L square. That equation number 9. But there will be a condition for that of ellipse B square, that is semi minor axis, is equal to A square 1 minus epsilon square. Epsilon is the eccentricity for that of ellipse, as we studied about in conic sections, as we previously discussed in that of Kepler's first law, we introduce epsilon. So equation 9 becomes, T square is equal to 4 pi square mu square A fourth 1 minus epsilon square divided by L square. Take equation number 10. Again, but from property of ellipse, 2A is equal to R max plus R min. R max, R min in the sense, R max, this is the radius done to take the semi major axis, that is R max, and the radius done to get to that of semi minor axis, that is R min. This is the property for that of ellipse, and whereas R max and R min have a particular values here, which implies 2A R max, the value of R max is L square divided by mu c 1 divided by 1 minus epsilon plus R min L square mu c, that is 1 divided by 1 plus epsilon is the R min, which implies 2A, taking L square divided by mu c as common, 1 by 1 minus epsilon plus 1 by 1 plus epsilon, which implies A is equal to L square divided by mu c 1 minus epsilon square. Solving that particular term, putting the value of A in equation number 10. Therefore, equation 10 becomes T square is equal to 4 pi square mu square AQ divided by L square, that is A fourth. I just write AQ and in place of 1A we introduce this term, that is L square 1 minus epsilon square divided by mu c 1 minus epsilon square, or T square is equal to 4 pi square mu AQ divided by c. Look here, these terms are constant, 4 pi square mu c That's why write T square is directly proportional to AQ, since 4 pi square mu divided by c is a constant term. This is the Kepler's third law of planetary motion, that is the square of time period of revolution, that is t, is directly proportional to the cube of the semi major axis, that is A. That is also known as the law of harmony or harmonic law. So with the help of this video lecture, we understand what is that of Kepler's laws of planetary motions. Three laws: law of elliptical orbit, law of area, and law of harmony or harmonic law. We discuss all these three laws mathematically. Discussion for that of Kepler's first law. We find that is equation of an elliptical orbit. That's why it proved Kepler's first law. From that of Kepler's second law, the aerial velocity is constant. Finally, Kepler's third law, that is law of harmony. So with this useful and informative notes, let me wind up this session. Thank you.